Hey Atlanta, say hello to Small Business Help from Apple. That's right, we're here to make starting and running your business simpler. From helping you choose the right devices to setting them up hassle-free, we can help you build your business in no time. Speak to a business expert and get the help you need at no cost whatsoever. At Apple, we're open for your small business. Go to apple.com/smallbusiness or visit an Apple store to learn more.
How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
Hello, America. How are you? I'm delighted to be with you. It's Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number 877-973-7425. I need the attention of the fine folks in Kansas City. And, you know, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, probably out in Tulsa, too, on KRMG. But in particular, the fine folks out in Kansas City. If you're listening to me in Kansas City right now, I really, really, really actually need your attention. KMBZ, pay attention to me here. Reed Timmer has landed. He's at the Kansas City airport. Dr. Reed Timmer. Now, you may not know who Dr. Reed Timmer is. He is a storm chaser, and he only chases the biggest storms. And if he's in Kansas City, you probably have some really bad weather headed your way in Kansas City. So I would be advised, if you're in the Kansas City area, knowing that Reed Timmer is there, you're going to want to be paying attention to KMBZ and the weather forecast. I'm just looking at the Weather Channel right now, and yep, looking at some possible thunderstorms overnight, potentially severe thunderstorms tonight in Kansas City. And again, if a professional storm chaser who's like one of the pioneers in the field is in Kansas City expecting, in his words, gorilla-sized hailstones, among other things, you just want to be paying attention. Kansas City, it's on you. Remember, your radio station will keep you up to date. Now, we have to move on to other topics. I have a poll up on social media. In fact, let me look. I've got it on Instagram and I've got it on Twitter. And right now on Twitter, hang on, I'm getting to it. This is real professional of me. Yes. Root canal without anesthesia is winning 70-30 in the question of which do you prefer, Biden versus Trump or a root canal without anesthesia? Now on Instagram, it's 74-26, root canal without anesthesia versus Biden v. Trump 2.0. There we have it. Less than a third of Americans, at least on social media, but actually the polling suggests this is a pretty accurate sample because the nation itself seems to be indicating this. Only about 30% of Americans are truly excited about a Biden versus Trump 2.0 race. So for perspective, just so you understand this, if you are thoroughly excited about it, you are very much in the minority. At least know when you're in the minority, even if you think you're right. Nobody's excited about this. We have our nominees. As of last night, Joe Biden and Donald Trump have enough votes to be the nominees for their parties. The RNC will now begin spending money on Donald Trump's behalf. He has taken over the RNC now. He's put Laura Trump in and one of his lawyers. They've laid off a lot of people. They're moving major operations. down to Palm Beach to be near the president. There is concern Donald Trump will start using the money of the RNC to pay his legal bills. I gotta say a number of things here, and some of you will be mad, some of you won't care. One, Donald Trump wants to win the presidency. There are people concocting these conspiracy theories about that he doesn't really want to win. He wants to win. He liked the presidency. He liked being on Air Force One. He liked the Diet Coke button in the Oval Office. He liked the phone system in the White House. He liked being president of the United States. Once you've had the ring of power on your finger, you don't want to give it up. He is Gollum in Quest of the Ring. Same thing with Biden. Biden loves the power too. Biden loves the ring of power on his finger. He doesn't want to give it up. The man should give it up. The only thing keeping him alive, like Gollum in the ring, is the presidency. The moment Joe Biden is out of office, we might as well prepare for the funeral. Let's be honest. I mean, the man's not getting any younger. Jimmy Carter's outlasting all of them, and Biden, the moment he goes away, this is why Jill Biden wants to keep him in the White House. She doesn't want to put up with Hunter Biden without him. The only way to keep him alive is to keep him in power. By the ring of power, it prolongs your life. The rest of us, we're not really excited. Georgia raises some red flags for Donald Trump. He lost Fulton, DeKalb, Gwinnett, and Cobb County at last check by me to Nikki Haley. That's the suburban area, urban suburban part of the state. And he didn't do well in those areas with suburban voters. Now, we know, by the way, she got 77,000 votes. He got less than 500,000 votes. She didn't do massively well. And actually, it looks like, let's see here. Nope. It looks like ultimately Donald Trump won these areas. He won. So when I checked last night, she was ahead, but as the count came in, yeah, he won Gwinnett. He won them all. Won every county in Georgia. But it was pretty close to those areas. Now, you got to keep in mind, in 2016, Marco Rubio won Fulton, Cobb, and DeKalb. That's the Atlanta metro area other than Gwinnett County, and he won Clark County in 2016. But let's be real honest here. A lot of people who look at this and say this is actually serious damage and trouble for Donald Trump. It's not really. It's not really. Do you really believe all these Nikki Haley voters are going to go vote for Joe Biden in November? I have a hard time. Marco Rubio voters, they turned out and voted for Donald Trump in 2016. He beat Hillary Clinton. Now, yeah, it is true. My buddy John King on CNN last night pointed out he only lost Georgia by around 11,000 some odd votes, and Nikki Haley got more than that. Also, the number of people was down. So for perspective here, Brian Kemp in 2022, running against David Perdue, had over 1 million person turnout in the primary. Donald Trump, running unopposed in 2020, had close to 1 million people turn out. Donald Trump in 2024, for all intents and purposes, running unopposed, there were only about 500 some odd thousand people who turned out. The Democrats, it was no better. There's just not a lot of enthusiasm for the race. At the same time, I just think that economic factors continue to give Donald Trump an advantage. Rand Paul was on CNBC, or no, he was on Fox Business earlier. Listen to some of this from Rand Paul.
Becoming a European nation of open borders, massive welfare, and a dearth of innovation and economic growth. Joining me now, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. Senator, thanks for joining. The budget is runaway spending, sky-high taxes, $290 billion to house immigrants that have entered this country illegally. I mean, it's the whole thing, obviously, is all the things you have warned about forever and ever. But are you shocked at how brazen it is? I mean, this election comes down to whether this is the country we want to be.
Yeah, if you like inflation now, if you like your grocery bill being up 20%, you're going to like it even more because it means more inflation will come. But it's also fundamentally sticking your head in the sand to think that higher taxes are good for the economy. The reason we're doing fairly well now is still because of the tax cut of 2017, passed by Republicans, passed by Donald Trump. But there is a fundamental difference between the parties. Joe Biden and the Democrats think that if you tax business, somehow that's going to be something that we survive and it won't cost us jobs, but it will cost jobs. Inevitably, you'll have economic malaise and you'll have loss of jobs if you raise taxes on corporations. And so I think it's very much a misguided blueprint, and I think it'll be dead on arrival here. I don't think we'll let it happen.
You know, the fact that Joe Biden is recycling the same playbook that sparked inflation the first time is just another issue that goes to Donald Trump's advantages. And the Democrats are so convinced, that they hate Donald Trump so much that there's no way anyone would possibly vote for him. You know, grocery prices were less on January 6, 2021 than they are right now. Gas prices were lower on January 6, 2021 than they are right now. Home prices, average home prices were less on January 6, 2021 than they are right now. Democrats are obsessed with January 6, 2021. Americans are obsessed with the price difference between January 6, 2021 and now. That is ultimately the defining line here. And so what the Democrats are going to do is try to shame you and bully you into voting for Joe Biden because they claim Donald Trump's a threat to democracy. They have no winning argument for Joe Biden other than Trump's a bad guy. Concurrently, you know, Republicans are going to do the same. They're going to try to bully Republicans into supporting Donald Trump. You don't like him. You think he's got bad character, but look at Joe Biden. You can't vote for him. The guy's immoral. Both sides are going to call the other side evil and immoral. Somebody the other day on social media, on Instagram, said, I'm concerned with you passively suggesting people not vote in November. I'm not passively suggesting anything. I'm actively telling you that don't let people bully and shame you into voting for someone. If you find both candidates to be an abomination, don't go vote for them. The lesser of two evils is still evil, and you don't have to participate. In fact, I personally believe, and dare I alienate everybody by saying this, I think if you view it as a matter of stewardship that I can't vote for either of these guys and that's going to send a signal to do better next time, then so be it. I don't know what I'm going to do. Honestly, I genuinely don't know what I'm going to do. Normally, I would say I can't stand Joe Biden. I hate his policies. Donald Trump's policies would be so much better. But then I start thinking, my gosh, look at his flip-flop on China, on TikTok because of donors and grievances. And is that what 4 years is going to be like, where it doesn't matter what the policy is and how sound it is? It's going to be about petty personal grievances and who gives him checks. Do I really want to participate in that? I'm not excited about a political campaign this year for president. There are so many good people who could have been the nominee. Don't give me the binary choice because in 2016, I had people call all the time and say, if you don't vote for Donald Trump, you're helping Hillary Clinton get elected. I didn't vote for either one of them, and he got elected. Concurrent to that, now that you're all mad at me, don't be bullied into not voting for Donald Trump. Don't be shamed by Democrats into not voting for him. This is all the Democrats have is shame. They want you to think if you vote for Donald Trump, that you are responsible for the destruction of democracy in America. These are the people who tried to take him off the ballot in Colorado, Maine, Illinois, and elsewhere without a vote of the people. Spare me your lectures on democracy, Democrats. You are the people who have the people marching in the streets chanting death to the Jews and hating cops and wanting to defund the police and sparking crime waves and riots and burning down middle-class America around the country. Spare me your lectures, Democrats. You are the people turning a blind eye to Antifa in Atlanta, trying to stop the building of a police training facility through violence. You give them a pass. Spare me your lectures. If you're not enthusiastic and you're kind of disgusted by what the parties did and you don't want to vote, don't have anybody tell you you've got to go vote. You must vote because stewardship sometimes means refraining from voting so that you send a strong signal to the parties that you both suck, do better. But if you want to vote for Donald Trump, absolutely, 1,000% go vote for Donald Trump. Be proud of your vote for Donald Trump. And if you can't be proud of it, but you think it's necessary, go do it because it's necessary. Don't be bullied and shamed by Democrats lecturing you that somehow the Republican Party is an immoral party. The Democrats are the party of pro-abortion, pro-transgenderism people. They have no ability to stand, even though they try, to lecture you on democracy or morality. Don't be bullied and don't be shamed. I cannot even rationalize voting for Joe Biden given the last 4 years. There are a lot of people who they're like, I can't stand Trump. I don't want him to come back. Look, I get it. But going and voting for Joe Biden, there is no possible way under the sun I will ever vote for a man like Joe Biden and what he stands for and what his party stands for and what he's enabled. But the bottom line is this. If you've looked at all this and you've said, nope, I can't do it, I don't blame you. I'm not going to encourage you to go vote if you're disgusted by it all. By not voting, you send a strong signal that you're disgusted by it all and the parties need to do better. But if you want to go vote for Donald Trump, don't let the Democrats bully you into changing your mind. Don't let them shame you into changing your mind. It's all they have, and it's a terrible indictment on the Democratic Party that that's all they have. They have no positive case to make for Joe Biden. They have a case to make against Donald Trump, and it's a case that is mostly a mirror reflection of the Democratic Party. They don't want you to vote for his authoritarianism. They want you to vote for theirs. No, thank you. Yes, you can. Welcome. The phone number, as the voice says, 877-973-7425. You know what? Oh, I got to shake things up when we come back because I got a topic near and dear to me that I want to talk about. But first, for those of you down in Florida, here's your wackadoo story of the day. You know, as racism in this country actually has been fading, there are a lot of people with a vested interest in keeping it festering because they make so much money off of it. If racism went away, the organizations would have to shut down. Which leads me to the NCAA. Actually, not the NCAA. No, the NAACP. Sorry, wrong group. The NAACP is asking black student athletes to reconsider their decisions to attend public colleges and universities in the state of Florida since the University of Florida and other state schools got rid of their DEI programs. The letter sent to NCAA President Charlie Baker and addressed to current and prospective student athletes Monday, the NAACP President Derek Johnson says this is not about politics. It's about the protection of our community, the progression of our culture, and most of all, it's about your education and future. No, it has everything to do with your politics. You support DEI programs because you need racism to fester in America, and DEI festers and promotes racism, and you'd be out of business without it. So you're shaming Florida for moving on beyond racism and actually having real racial progress. It's ridiculous. You know, one of the great lecturers about DEI is at Hillsdale College these days, and you can put your toe in the water with Hillsdale College and start a relationship with them with some great lectures by Victor Davis Hanson, completely for free. You build up a relationship with Hillsdale College. It is such a great education, even for you out of school now, on the Constitution, on civics, on citizenship. In fact, Victor Davis Hanson has an entire lecture series you can get available at ericforhillsdale.com on the decline of citizenship in the United States and how to revitalize it. It's a great program. And it's Victor Davis Hanson. Yes, the famed historian lecturing you at your own pace. ericforhillsdale.com, ERICK for Hillsdale.com. They're a great college in Michigan. They are like a conservative monastery for the conservative and constitutional mind in the country, preserving constitutional conservatism in the country. They want a relationship with you. You should want one with them. ericforhillsdale.com, ERICK, ericforhillsdale.com. Go check them out today. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, happy to have you. Let's go to Antonio. Welcome to the show, Antonio. How are you?
Fine. How you doing?
Good. What's going on?
Oh, no, I was just saying that I'm an African-American black from Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised here. I don't think the media really covering that. I voted for Joe Biden last time. I'm just going to be honest. A lot of my friends, we voted for him, and now we all changing our minds like, no, we're not voting for Joe. It's a no for Joe. We say, hey, maybe we have to go with Trump because the things Trump did while he was president worked for America. You know, it worked for everybody, not just the black community, but for everybody. Now things with Joe is so hard. It's so hard at the point that he's trying to deflect that he's doing so bad. He's trying to make it seem like he's doing good, and I'm like trying to, and we're trying to figure out how are you doing good when the economy is still so bad. We don't get it. I don't get it. My friends don't get it, but a lot of us in Atlanta, we're not voting for Joe. It's a no for Joe.
You know, so Antonio, it's funny you say this because there's actually some polling out this morning that people now have fond memories of the Trump administration, and his favorability ratings for his time in office is now up to 49% support. Had been at 40, it's up to 49% support. It's a 9-point increase in the past year for the favorability of Donald Trump's time in office. And it's being judged in real time by what's happening with Joe Biden's time in office. And as you're saying, you're black, your friends are, and y'all voted for Biden the last time, and some of you are going wobbly on that issue. And the data is out there. Y'all, again, I know a lot of you say the polling is terrible out there, but it's reflecting the trends. Antonio himself and his friends are an anecdote, but they become data when you compile it across the country, and it's reflected in these surveys of voters. The deep dislike of what was obtained by going to Joe Biden. Again, the media and the Democrats are furious about January 6th. It's a defining, disqualifying moment for them. What is defining and disqualifying for your average American is the prices on January 6th versus the prices today. And they're up in every category since then, and that is defining and disqualifying for them against Joe Biden, not Donald Trump. They don't care about a temper tantrum, a bunch of white dudes going inside the Capitol on January 6th. They care that they can't go to the grocery store today and spend what they spent on January 6th, 2021 and get the same amount of groceries. And that matters for a lot of people. The fact that the Democrats don't seem to understand that or don't care about it, and that's actually how it comes across, is that they just don't care. They want to make excuses for themselves. That matters. Now, y'all, I'm going to change topics here. I don't care to talk about Robert Hur right now. We may get back into this because there is a story that has piqued my interest in a very big way. And I don't want to talk politics. I am fascinated by this. I tell you all the time, I say it at least every other week. I said it yesterday, as a matter of fact. It was now all of a sudden it escapes me as to which one of her prime ministers is one of Queen Elizabeth's prime ministers. It wasn't Chamberlain. What was his name? I can picture his face, and now I can't remember. But events changed things. One of Queen Elizabeth's prime ministers was asked. He swept into office, a Tory victory, was asked what could take him out of power, what could disrupt things. He says, events, dear boy, events. Events change things. You know, there's this group of people called the Malthusians. They're particularly on the left in the abortion cult, the death cult, the transgender movement. They're Malthusians. We'll talk about them in the next hour, as a matter of fact. They believe that the world is going to run out of resources. And a lot of people are going to die. We need to limit population. And I just think you never bet against free markets. Never bet against free people in free markets. Events change things, sometimes for the worse, often for the better. We make progress. It's why, for example, when it comes to climate change, instead of us trying to give up our way of life, we should adapt. And we should be mindful of the progress of the free market. Take Apple, for example. Take Apple. I am in the Apple cult. I make no bones about it. I am in the Apple cult. I think they make great products. They work. They integrate well integrated together. I love them. Apple is getting to net zero faster than any other company. What that means is they want to have net energy use there from fossil fuels by 2030. They've even gotten rid of leather, which was a disastrous mistake. They've got this fine woven product that's crap. Don't buy them. If you have any product from Apple called fine woven, get rid of it. It's garbage. They should have kept leather. In fact, they're doing economic harm and ecological harm by getting rid of leather. The leather's going to go somewhere. We're not giving up cows. Apple decided it wanted to be vegan or some such, and so they stopped making leather cases. They made great leather products for their iPhones and iPads and the like, And they stopped because the environmentalists got mad at them. Well, we're not going to give up beef. The leather is going to wind up in a landfill somewhere when Apple could have used it. It was stupid on their part. But they want to be net zero. They're a private company. You may disagree with them. Some shareholders tried to get them to drop it, thinking it was a waste of money, but Apple's all in. God bless them for it. I think it's silly myself. But good for them that they want to put their stamp on the planet. They're very preachy about it. Let them do it. They're a private company. Let them do it. Well, there's new progress being made. If you've listened to me long enough, you've heard my fascination with energy. And my fascination with energy is this, with the exception really of maybe the photovoltaic cell, that is the solar panel, the conversion of sunlight into electricity. 90% or so of our electricity, or more than that, is generated by spinning a magnet around a copper coil. And I remember this experiment when I was in 4th grade with Mr. Goswick. Mr. Goswick was from Salem, Oregon. He was my 4th grade teacher in Dubai. And I remember because I was one of the kids who had to hold one of the ends of the copper wire, and it was a nail. It had copper wire wrapped around it, and he had a big U-shaped magnet, and he moved it back and forth, and we all jumped and let go because you could feel the electricity move through. I remember it. And that's what you do to generate electricity. You take a magnet and you pass it rapidly back and forth over copper wire, or you spin the copper wire with a fixed magnet. And all of our energy into producing energy goes to spinning that magnet or that coil, and mostly through the generation of steam. So we burn coal or natural gas or oil or something to generate heat, to make steam, to boil water, to make steam at high pressure, to spin the turbine. Windmills use the wind to spin the turbine. Hydroelectric dams use the pressure of water, but more often than not, it's about converting water to steam, or pressurizing water in some way to pass through, to spin a turbine, to move magnets around a copper coil to produce electricity. It's fascinating. Nuclear power is one of the cleanest ways to do this. There has been a quest now for fusion power. So fission is when you split an atom and it generates a lot of heat. One of the very first nuclear bombs was a fission bomb, and then we moved to fusion bombs. Fusion bombs fuse two atoms together, produce an enormous amount of energy. Fusion is what's happening at the core of the sun. Fusion bombs and fusion generate massive amounts of energy. And unlike fission, where you're splitting atoms apart, fusion is very clean. There's no waste. And it's been a thing of science fiction. Evans Pritchard in the London Telegraph has this. Even well-informed members of the West's political class are mostly unaware of the quantum leap in superconductors, lasers, and advanced materials suddenly changing the economics of fusion power. Britain's First Light Fusion announced last week it had broken the world record for pressure at the Sandia National Laboratories in the U.S., pushing the boundary to 1.85 terapascal, 5 times the pressure at the core of the Earth. Days later, a clutch of peer-reviewed papers confirmed that Commonwealth fusion systems near Boston, Massachusetts, had broken the world record for a large-scale magnet with a field strength of 20 Tesla using the latest high-temperature superconducting technology. This exceeds the threshold necessary for producing net energy, or a Q factor above 1. Overnight, it basically changed the cost per watt of a fusion reactor by a factor of almost 40, says Professor Dennis Wyatt, plasma doyen at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. The March edition of the IEEE Transactions on Applied Superconductivity published 6 papers ratifying different aspects of the technology. The magnets are used to fuse hydrogen isotopes by squeezing super hot plasma inside a tokamak device. The temperature must be 10 times hotter than the surface of the sun in order to replicate solar fusion, because the Earth's magnetic field is so much weaker. The old low-temperature magnets are made of niobium alloys, operating near absolute zero. The new magnets lift the temperature from 4 kelvins to 20 kelvins using rare earth barium copper oxide with a radically new design. They combine superconductivity with extreme magnetic power. This leverages a multiple order of magnitude increase in fusion capability. Now, for some of you, this is gobbledygook. Let me explain. It takes so much energy to cool down the magnets and to produce essentially a pressurized chamber in which the plasma is housed between the magnets, that you're spending more energy to conduct the fusion than you get from the fusion reaction. It's a net energy loser. So you spend more energy to produce the energy than you get out of the final product. So you're putting more energy in. It's a loser. But now they've come up with new technologies and new magnets, and they can actually, they spend less energy producing the power to conduct the reaction than they get out of the reaction. It's a net energy positive. That means that we have now crossed the threshold for fusion power for the first time in history. Fusion power essentially takes 2 hydrogen isotopes. Hydrogen has what, 1 proton, 1 electron. It's the very first element. It's the lightest element, and it forces them together into helium. Helium is an inert gas. By pushing them together, it releases so much energy, but it has to be done in a magnetic, essentially the magnets create a tube and the plasma is pushed together in this tube created by the magnetic fields. Now, here's the amazing thing. So you're reading 10 times hotter than the sun. What if this explodes? So you know the most remarkable thing about the science that they've discovered is that when the field breaks down and the plasma escapes, it immediately dissipates. It immediately goes away. So it's not only safer than fission nuclear reaction, it produces no waste. We used to think fusion was always years away, and now suddenly it's here. Now, I bring all of this up, one, because I'm very fascinated by it, and I hope you are too, because we all of our research and effort into energy has gone to heating water to spin a turbine. Now we have a way to heat the water super efficiently with fusion. It releases an enormous amount of heat. Very, very, very cleanly. It puts us on a path to a tomorrow where we don't have to worry about fossil fuel emissions. We don't have to worry about climate change. The climate change doomsayers are forever saying we're all going to die. We've got 10 years. Here now, it is possible that we could have fusion reactors up and running in the next decade. The Washington-based Fusion Industry Association says 4 of its members think they can do it by 2030. 90% of its members think they can do it by 2040. China started a fusion consortium last year, undoubtedly stealing our data and technological know-how. We're moving in a direction towards energy reactions that used to be the things of science fiction and are becoming science fact. Essentially, it's a warp core from Star Wars or from Star Trek. Magnets pushing a plasma conduit together that allows a fusion reaction to generate enormous energy. That's basically what a warp core is in Star Trek. Yes, I am a nerd. I love Star Trek. And you're doing it in real time in the real world. This is life-changing, literally life-changing. It's game-changing for energy. And we have all the mass hysteria about climate change. Events change things, for the better oftentimes. And the free market continues to advance scientific research to produce clean energy in ways that the left has not thought possible and in ways that forestall and mitigate all the climate activity that the left is demanding we give up. We don't have to give up anything. We can just advance the science, which these scientists are doing. God bless them for doing it. This is amazing stuff. You know what else is amazing? Vision Computers and how they can save your company time and money. You want your employees to be efficient and proficient at their job, not at maintaining their computer and setting up their email and printers. That's where Vision Computers comes in. Let's say you got an IT guy and you don't want to get rid of the IT guy because he handles your network security and stuff like that, but you don't want to bog your IT guy down with the silliness of my email's not working, my printer's not working, I don't know how to do this on my computer. Well, for $179 a year, A year, not a month, a year. Vision Computers can be how you offload some of the IT capacity. They can take over the menial stuff so your IT guy can do what he does and your employees can do what they do well so you have limited downtime. They can do it for your home or office. So they can build you PCs, laptops, or desktops, or they can also be your world-class support. They have thousands of 5-star reviews from Google. Now, listen, you do not have to have bought your computers from Vision Computers. If you have PCs, they can help you. $179 a year. Just go to visioncomputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. 404-COMPUTE. Tell Vision Computers I sent you. They'll give you even a better deal. 404-COMPUTE. They can build your computers. They can service your computers. They can help your IT staff. They can keep your company up and running. Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here. Real quick, let me go to Joe because he's got a question a lot of people have. Joe, welcome to the show.
Hey, Eric. Good to talk to you. I understand the energy potential from fusion, but how do they convert that to electricity?
Okay. So the fusion generates an incredible amount of heat. So it can turn the water to steam faster and more efficiently than fossil fuel can. Not only that,
so it's still steam cycle.
So it's still a steam cycle. Yeah, that's the crazy thing here. Is this is all about turning water to steam in the most efficient way forward. So you use you don't use any fossil fuels. There are no carbon emissions. Yep. There's no methane. And you can use so little of it. Think about it. Just imagine what a nuclear power plant currently looks like. You can build something a quarter of the size of that and generate. So you generate a smaller footprint for the energy facility, generating much more heat. So everything's much more efficient. It's remarkable that we could eventually get there, and it looks like we're on the verge of doing so.